A little over 7 years ago, Super Mario 3D World released on the Wii U, a fun, competitive, co-op multiplayer experience that built upon the level-based reach the flagpole style of Mario games. Then, a few years later, Super Mario Odyssey released, making the return of Mario's big 3D open adventures in quite some time. And now, 3 years after that, we have a brand new Mario adventure that attempts to bring the two together, being the Bowser's Fury half of Super Mario 3D World on Nintendo Switch, an enhanced port of the critically acclaimed Wii U title, bundled with the brand new adventure. And for this review, we'll be focusing exclusively on the new Bowser's Fury adventure to find out whether it's worth visiting all on its own. Is Mario's escapade with Bowser Jr. to stop Fury Bowser worth it to those who have already experienced 3D World? Is Bowser's Fury really a large threat defining a new age of the Koopa King's strength? Or is it a small temper tantrum to be written off? Let's find out. The game opens up very similarly to Super Mario 3D World, even remixing the opening theme. Mario enjoys a walk by Peach's castle, before noticing some strange black goop leading up to a familiar M shape. It opens into a portal sucking him in, falling into a strange cat-like world called Lake Lapcat, where he's immediately greeted by the Godzilla-sized Fury Bowser among its many islands. Unusually, Mario teams up with Bowser Jr. to try and stop Bowser's rampage. The opening is a fun callback to the game Bowser's Fury is literally bundled with, and it's cute to see the backstory told through Bowser Jr.'s paintings. It's pretty quick and gets the player into the action without dwelling on heavy tutorials or explanations. It is Mario, after all. Nintendo has described Bowser's Fury as a free-roaming adventure, but I think this sells the mode a bit short. Mario's adventure around Lake Lapcat is far, far grander than any individual kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey, and sells the idea of exploring an open, interconnected world better than we've ever seen in a Mario game before. The closest we've had was back in Super Mario Sunshine, where you could see various landmarks and locations from different levels, such as Pina Park or Delfino Plaza. It gave the impression of the whole game taking place in one big connected world almost 20 years ago. But Bowser's Fury finally brings that to fruition. Sure, each island of Lake Lapcat feels more like a constructed level from 3D Land or 3D World, rather than the lived-in environments of Sunshine and Odyssey, though details like ancient hieroglyphics do add some history, but it's still absolutely worth appreciating this large open environment. Bowser's Fury is really a fusion between Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario Sunshine. Of course, most of the power-ups and mechanics from 3D World are present here, though some for merely a single location or catshine. This includes a helpful inventory system to keep track of and easily equip power-ups at any time. It actually felt very refreshing to see some of these mechanics, enemies, and level hazards in new ways, different from what we already have in 3D World. I already mentioned the sunshine feelings invoked from the large explorable world, but I've yet to mention the direct callbacks, like Bowser Jr.'s paintbrush, or the M shape the goop forms. It's not entirely subtle. Even riding Plessie across the open waters reminds me of using the turbo nozzle on Flood, or even the general focus on water both games have. The gameplay premise is relatively simple. Mario must venture across the various islands, collecting over 50 cat shines, each one another step to defeating Bowser. It's straightforward, yet engaging. I was reminded of the exploration in Super Mario Odyssey, searching every nook and cranny for collectibles. While I felt that Odyssey had far too many moons to collect, Bowser's Fury, on the other hand, has a reasonable amount of cat shines. The levels are fun to navigate, especially as Cat Mario, which makes platforming much easier in general. Plessie also feels essential, acting as the main transport between islands, usually popping up just right when you need them. And that's a fantastic upgrade from their relatively rare appearance in 3D World. One major twist Bowser's Fury introduces is, well, Fury Bowser himself, who appears with alarming frequency, causing the weather to change to a dark storm, along with significant changes made to the environment as well. New platforms, new paths, and several cat shines that can only be obtained during the Fury phase of gameplay. The entire world becomes more dangerous, and it gets harder to survive Fury Bowser's onslaught when you're not even close to obtaining another cat shine, with the Giga Bell locked away until you've found enough. And that Giga Bell is the key to fighting back, allowing Mario to grow supersize and go toe-to-toe with Bowser a few times throughout the game. Fury Bowser's presence is a fantastic way to add pressure and periodically up the difficulty, shaking up the gameplay to keep the player on their toes, needing to adapt on the fly. There were a few times I found myself waiting impatiently for Fury Bowser to reappear, or tapping the Bowser amiibo to force him to, as some objectives require his involvement. While Bowser's Fury has its fair share of challenges and strong cases of level design, it also has a few slow moments that may not sit well with the impatient types. The amiibo certainly helps, and I'm sure working back and forth between various available cat shines would also help. If you play it like I did, you may find yourself waiting a bit at times, stubborn to move on. Next, let's talk about the biggest part of the gameplay, literally. Giga Mario vs Fury Bowser is the kaiju battle of everyone's dreams. Well, maybe. Truth be told, these battles are a bit short. As you progress through the game, Fury Bowser gets more moves in his arsenal, making the fight a bit more challenging, but admittedly, I expected a bit more. While it definitely feels cinematic and epic, the novelty of these giant battles may wear off if you find yourself completing them too quickly. I thoroughly enjoyed these battles, but definitely wanted to see more from them. At the very least, you have plenty of options as Giga Mario. You could take Fury Bowser on and target his weak points with any of your Cat Mario moves, or just pick up one of his large spikes and throw at him, and instantly make him vulnerable to attack. It may be easy to lose sight of Bowser during these battles, even with the free camera. Thankfully, though the game doesn't tell you this, the L button recenters the camera on Bowser, making it easy to keep your gigantic opponent in frame. Bowser's Fury is a fairly short game, taking me about 2.5 hours to reach the credits, and another 2 hours to get 100% completion in. Of course, the length will vary depending on the player. The thing is, I'm perfectly content with that. It's a short, bite-sized adventure that felt like it was worth the time put into it. While I'm sure another island or two would have been fun to add to the map, I actually feel this length is a comfortable size for a game like this. By the time I completed the story, I wanted more, and was excited to jump back in. Once I reached 100% and completed the game again, I leaned back in my chair and felt satisfied. No itching drive to immediately start the game over to get more out of it, but also no feelings of it dragging on for too long. Despite this, I am absolutely looking forward to helping my fiancé run through the game in co-op. Speaking of, let's talk a bit about Bowser Jr. and the co-op. Bowser Jr. can assist as an AI partner, pointing out helpful information to the player, taking out nearby enemies, or going where the player directs them. Alternatively, he can be controlled by a second player locally. While it's fun and reminiscent of the co-star Luma from Super Mario Galaxy 2 or Cappy in co-op of Super Mario Odyssey, I think I actually may prefer Bowser Jr. as an AI ally. It can be fun to play together with a friend, but I feel that Bowser Jr. moves a bit too fast and can very quickly end up doing most, if not all, of the work. As an AI, I really enjoy the added assistance he can offer, even if it's pointing out single coins hidden underground. It feels pretty natural to move the controller around to point Bowser Jr.'s cursor, allowing one to easily direct him where he needs to go and how to best assist. Visually, Bowser's Fury looks great. Not quite on the same level as Super Mario Odyssey, but definitely even better than Super Mario 3D World, and that game looked great itself back on the Wii U. There's a few graphical oddities, such as the reflections and the rain looking a little flat, but it overall looks great, especially the lightning whenever Fury Bowser appears. Though the game mostly runs at a smooth 60 FPS, the game rarely would slow down a bit, most notably when loading in new areas while Fury Bowser was rampaging. This never really took away from my experience with the game, but it was noticeable once or twice. While not part of the visuals, I also want to make a quick comment about the music. It's absolutely just as great as their wonderful soundtrack to 3D World, but I wish it had more original songs, as a few are unfortunately just reused. Not a terribly big deal, but something that stood out to me. I'll be honest, Super Mario 3D World is one of my favorite Mario games, so it should come as no surprise that I was excited for this Switch version when it was announced. When I saw it would be paired with an additional new game, however, I became intrigued. Excited to revisit 3D World, but very curious to see what new would come with it. Now that I've put the time in to fully complete it, I can confidently say that I liked Bowser's Fury a lot. It surprised me by being a comfortably short adventure that feels like the perfect evolution to the Super Mario 3D World format. It was a breath of fresh air that I didn't know I needed from the Mario series, and I truly hope that it won't be the last we see of this kind of gameplay. If Bowser's Fury was simply a standalone experience, it might not offer enough for a full $60 price point. Paired with Super Mario 3D World, however, I feel that it is absolutely worth picking these games up if you're a fan of 3D Mario adventures. Whether it's Super Mario Sunshine or Super Mario Odyssey, if you enjoy Mario's adventures in 3D spaces, collecting some variation of stars, I highly recommend checking Bowser's Fury out. You may end up liking it even more than I did. Thank you guys so much for watching this review of Bowser's Fury. What do you guys think of this short game? Let us know down below. With that, make sure to subscribe to Game Explained for plenty more on Bowser's Fury, the Super Mario series, and other things gaming as well. Check out the videos on the right for more content you may be interested in. Until next time, farewell.